I want to share something to you this afternoon. The topic of my message is only God has what it takes to cover up our nakedness. Genesis chapter 3 recorded the fall of man. And if you read chapter 2 verse 17, you will understand that God told Adam and Eve not to eat a particular fruit from the knowledge of good and evil. Then, in verse 6 of Genesis chapter 3, the serpent deceived Eve. The Bible says Eve took the fruit and ate, and also gave to her husband. And the result of what happened was that the Bible said their eyes got opened and they discovered they were naked. They went and sewed fig leaf to cover up the nakedness. Upon covering up their nakedness, the Bible made us to understand that God walked into the garden. Adam and Eve were still hiding themselves, telling God that they were naked. Meaning that the fig leaf they sewed was not able to cover the knowledge that just happened in their life. Let me tell you this. The opening of their eyes was older than them. The nakedness they discovered in their life was older than them. If you read Genesis chapter 3 verse 6, you will see that the Bible told us that Eve saw that the fruit was good. There was ability from the eyes of Eve to behold that the fruit was good. And the Bible made us to understand that she also discovered that it was pleasant to the eyes. Meaning that they already have eyes. They were seeing with their eyes. Yet, this issue of their eyes got opened had no place in their life. So, their eyes that got opened when they ate the fruit from the knowledge of good and evil was not just a physical eyes, because they already have eyes that was seeing things, that was beholding things was good, that was, that could realize that something is pleasant to the eye. So they had eyes already. But these eyes that the Bible recorded that it got opened and they discovered they were naked was not just a physical eyes. I see it as something more than physical. It was a knowledge that they realized in their life, that they just came to know in their life. And if they just came to know that knowledge, at that point, they ate the fruit from the knowledge of good and evil. It means that knowledge is older than them. It means that knowledge, that wisdom, that eyes opening was older than them. It means that nakedness, I see it that nakedness Adam and Eve discovered in their life was something older than them. In the last verse of chapter 2, the Bible made us to understand that both of them were naked and they were not ashamed that they were naked. Remember, they have eyes then. Then, immediately they ate the fruit from the knowledge of good and evil. They discovered they were naked. That led them to go and sew fig leaves to cover up the nakedness. Yet, they covered up the nakedness. It was not, their consciousness and their conscience was not satisfied that they have covered up the nakedness. Their ability, their understanding was not satisfied that they have covered up the nakedness, which led to their hiding when God walked into the garden. The Bible says when God walked into the garden, they started hiding themselves, telling God that they were naked. Let me tell you this, sir. Let me speak to you, man. That nakedness in your life, you have no ability to cover it up. You need God to cover up your nakedness. It might be sin. It might be a mistake you made in life. It might be a lie you told in your marriage. And you are still trying to cover up that lie, just like Adam and Eve. You are covering it up. You are still hiding it. What is the need? You can't cover it up. You can't solve that problem. You need God. If there is something you need to open up to it, leave it in the hand of God. You need God to cover up that nakedness. God, despite Adam and Eve sewed fig leaf to cover up the nakedness. If you read Genesis chapter 3, somewhere in verse 20 or 21, the Bible made us to understand that God still came back to them and made a coat from the skin of animal and cover up that nakedness. Adam and Eve has no ability to cover it up. A friend of mine took me to a place. We went to buy clothes material. And we bought like a yard of clothes. As of then, some years ago, something like 6,000 something to 7,000. I have never buy that kind of thing before. So I was asking myself, so this is the kind of material people still buy, very expensive, and they will sew as a cloth. Yet, it becomes very easy for them to remove the cloth and commit fornication. Yet, it becomes very easy for them to remove the clothes and commit adultery. Yet, it becomes very easy for them to wear these clothes and commit evil and think of bad things and think of telling lies and think of murder. So, we need the glory of God to cover up our nakedness. It might be a physical nakedness. It might be a spiritual nakedness. It might be your home. Some of our homes today are naked, spiritual naked. The devil can just walk in, and speak anyhow and speak what he wants. Some people's life, most marriages are naked. We are just trying to cover up some certain things. We are covering up. We are still hiding. We are still covering up. We are still hiding ourselves. It means we have no capability. We have no capacity to cover up those things. We need God, just like what He did in the life of Adam and Eve, in verse 21 of Genesis chapter 3, where He made a coat from the skin of animal and cover up that nakedness. That nakedness is older than you. You can't cover it up. You need God to cover it up. Doesn't matter. I don't care where you want to hide. Some of us are trying to hide under a man of God after some dubious activities, after some evil in our life. No man of God can cover you up and you will have peace. Only you knows you have no peace. Only you knows what you are going through. You need God to cover you up. You need God to cover. You need God as your coverage. Only Him has the ability to cover. You have messed up, and the up you messed is older than you. There's no need trying to cover it up. There's no need covering up and hiding yourself. You need God to walk into that situation, and only then you will have peace of mind